In my last video, I discussed some of the different types of tours you can add to your next trip. And one of the tours that I mentioned was touring a historic home. And since I live in Nashville, Tennessee, which is a great place to visit, I thought I'd share with you my favorite historic homes in the area. And there are a lot of historic homes. So for today's video, I narrowed it down to my top 5 favorite historic homes in Nashville, Tennessee. So starting at the bottom of the list with number 5, this is probably the most controversial one. Whether you love him or hate him, that is Andrew Jackson's Hermitage. Or as my GPS called it, Andrew Jackson's Hermitage. You could say it either way, but here in Nashville, we call it the Hermitage. The 7th president bought the property in 1804 and lived there until his death in 1845. The property includes a Greek Revival styled mansion that you can tour, and it's really cool. You can explore the vast gardens and family cemetery. There's also a museum that showcases Andrew Jackson throughout the years. You can do a horse-drawn wagon tour and also watch reenactments of a duel, since the former president was a big fan of dueling his friends and enemies. If you are looking for a historic home that's a little closer to downtown, then you'll want to check out number 4, the Belmont Mansion. The Belmont Mansion was built in 1849 and was the home of Adelicia Acklin and her second husband, Joseph Acklin. The mansion was built in the style of an Italian villa and surrounded by beautiful gardens. Eventually, Adelicia sold the mansion and moved to Washington, D.C. A couple years later, 2 women bought the property and turned it into a college for women, which they named Belmont College. Years later, it changed ownership again, became co-ed, and was renamed Belmont University, which is still in existence today. So you can tour the Belmont Mansion and visit Belmont University's campus. And the south lawn of the campus still has the fountain and gazebos and even statues of wildlife to replicate the gardens of when Adelicia owned the property. Now traveling just west of the Belmont Mansion into the Belmead neighborhood of Nashville is number 3 on my list, the Belmead Plantation. The property was purchased by John Harding in 1807, which includes a federal-style house that was completed in 1819 and later transformed into a Greek Revival-styled home in 1853. Over the years, the family grew a successful thoroughbred stud business in which Belmead became so influential with their thoroughbreds that famous horses like Seabiscuit and every horse to race in the Kentucky Derby since 2003 can trace their bloodlines back to Belmead. Visitors can tour the mansion, explore the horse stables, gardens, and even sample wine from the Belmead Winery. For the last 2 historic homes on my list, we're traveling just south of Nashville to the suburb of Franklin, Tennessee. So number 2 on my list is the Carter House. The federal-style brick house was built in 1830 by Fountain Branch Carter for him and his family in Franklin, Tennessee. The Civil War was brought to the doorstep of the Carter House when the Battle of Franklin moved across its land on November 30th of 1864. The family took refuge in the basement while the battle took place just outside their home. Bullet holes can be seen all over the front of the house and other buildings on the property, and it is just crazy to imagine what this family was feeling and what they experienced with the battle right on their front lawn. With the Carter House, you will learn of a family's experience with the Battle of Franklin right at their doorstep. But just down the road, another family was having their own experience with the Battle of Franklin. So number 1 on my list is Carton. Carton is another federal-style home that was built in 1826 by Randall McGavick, with a Greek Revival-style porch added later by his son, John McGavick. On the same day that the Battle of Franklin overtook the Carter House property just down the road, Carton became a temporary hospital for Confederate soldiers wounded in the battle. The McGavicks took in close to 300 soldiers inside their home. After the battle ended, the McGavicks were left with burying the soldiers left on their property. Because many soldiers were unknown and at the time laws prohibited Confederate soldiers being buried in public cemeteries, the McGavicks turned part of their property into a Confederate cemetery. Over the next 40 years, the family became the caretakers and guided people from all across the United States to certain sections of their cemeteries that's separated by state and identifying markers to where their loved ones might be buried. So those are my top 5 historic homes in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, if you only have half a day dedicated towards touring a historic home, then I would strongly recommend touring both Carton and the Carter House in that order. It's totally doable in an afternoon. You can purchase a combined ticket for one price. You can tour both Carton and the Carter House. And I think it gives you a great overall picture of what those families went through with the Battle of Franklin and the different home types. It is just a great option if you only have a short amount of time. And if you have a whole day you can dedicate, then you can add a third home with the Belmead Plantation. Up to you, but that's just my recommendation. Leave a comment down below of which home you would be most interested in visiting, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now.